So I was looking at videos on YouTube of inspectors inspecting new builds and houses, and it's amazing what you see in there. But there was a video that caught my eye where they cut a lot of studs, and you can see here where they cut a lot of studs, and we know from looking at it that it looks like it's probably a southern market because they're using southern yellow pine, and they're running water lines overhead. So it's in a more warm weather market, and typically those are southern yellow pine studs. That is it looks like the way they fixed it is the correct way to fix it. It does work that way, but Dave, I was kind of curious, what do you think they were doing? Why they had so many studs cut in the exterior wall?
Yeah, so the method is to basically put an angle cut in the stud in order to straighten it. So that allows you to move the stud. So if it's got a bow and it's coming out into the room or going the other direction, you can make a cut in it and then move the stud over and scab the side, basically with like a 3 or 4 foot long piece of the same material. And then that holds it plumb. So that's what I think they were doing, is basically fixing the bow and the studs. The problem with it in the video that you sent me is they had on one exterior run, corner to corner on the outside of the house, it looked like 80% of the studs were done that way. And that's the problem. I mean, I'm used to seeing 1 or 2 of them done. But with our houses, typically the fir that we're using doesn't have the issue. So, so a little bit more structural and more stable product than the yellow pine.
Yeah, and then after we were kind of cussing and discussing it, I agree. I think they're trying to get a smooth wall interior. They're trying to get a bow out of the wall, and they're using LP Nova Core on the exterior sheathing, so they're not using an inexpensive product. So it's not like this builder's going on the cheap. It's done to probably get the wall. Get the bow out of the wall. For what we do, we use Doug fir in our market, and we're doing 2x6. So we don't typically have bows that are bad enough to need straightening like that. But if we were going to do it, how would you straighten a bow in a wall?
Yeah. So how our framer typically does it is, and again, we usually maybe have. It's been a while since I've seen this, but if we have 1 or 2 in a wall, is that they'll notch all of the studs horizontally and recess a piece of 2x6 into that. Now we can do that because we're using 2x6 exterior walls. You can't do that on a 2x4 wall, which is what was in this video, I believe. And the reason is because you can't cut more than 1/3 of the depth of those studs, which we've done that before, and we've had it overcut and had to come in there and fix all of that. So it can be done wrong even doing that. But what that does is it uses the other studs that are not bowed to straighten the one that is.
Yeah.
And so that's in my opinion, that's a more structural repair than doing an angle cut through that outside wall stud, which is structural always, because it carries the load of the roof or the floor above. When you make that cut, it's almost all the way through that stud, and then you're putting a scab piece on the side. I've never really liked it. Usually that kind of stuff is done after the inspection's done. So I'm not going to say that the inspectors even like it, but you can't leave a bowed wall out. You walk down a hallway and you see this bulge in the wall. That's what it is. It's a stud that was not straightened.
Yeah. And so in the video, it's not that it's incorrectly done. It just doesn't look quite right. And I think that's what the inspector is looking at, that, there's a lot of it. And so that raised his suspicion that there was something wrong. Anyway, we hope that helped explain it a little bit. Thank you.